Hi, everyone. Welcome to Monday Mentoring Moments for Young Women. I'm Dr. Chris Strobel, award winning author, keynote speaker, founder, and a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. I write in the preface of my book, this is my book, Helping Teen Moms Graduate Strategies for Families, Schools, and Community Organizations. My book came out in 2023 and it won 2 book awards. So I write in the preface that one of the 2 most pronounced feelings that surface when I think of my childhood is shame. I felt that I was not good enough. No one said anything. I just felt I wasn't good enough. And the source was my birthright. I was born to an unwed teenage mother. She was shamed, and I inherited her toxic shame. I didn't quite understand toxic shame until I read John Bradshaw's book, Healing the Shame That Binds Us. And John Bradshaw writes that toxic shame is first developed in the family system by way of 3 dynamics. And this is what today's Monday Mentoring Moment is all about, the 3 ways that toxic shame is first developed in the family system. So the first way toxic shame is developed in the family system is by growing up with a shame-based parent. So children have needs, they have physical needs, they have emotional needs. And their emotional needs are to be loved unconditionally, to feel emotionally safe, to be loved, to be nurtured, for you to spend time with them. Well, a shame-based parent can't do that because they can't nurture the child's emotional needs because they're still emotionally wounded themselves. They are an adult, but really what's in that adult is a needy child who never had their needs met. And so they can't give their children what they didn't have. So what happens is they emotionally end up neglecting their children, not intentionally, but that's what happens. And that emotional neglect is what induces toxic shame. The second way that toxic shame is first developed in the family system is by being abandoned by a parent. Again, a child has needs that must be met. And when they're abandoned by a parent, that parent is no longer there in the household to meet their needs. And children instinctively believe that when they are abandoned, that something must be wrong with me. Why am I not good enough? And that induces toxic shame. That's the second way. The third way that toxic shame is induced in the family system is when a child is repeatedly exposed to shaming experiences. So when they have needs that are constantly not met, and if they are judged and shamed for having those needs, then that induces toxic shame. And that's the third way that toxic shame is first induced in the family system. The problem with toxic shame that John Bradshaw writes is it leads to spiritual bankruptcy. Like you no longer know who you are. You cannot be your real true self, who God purposed you to be. You're a false codependent self. And to heal the shame, as he says, heal the shame that is binding you, you have to talk about your shame, you have to expose it, come out of hiding. And he says the best way to do that, the best environment, is a non-shaming environment with your peers. And an example would be 12-step programs. You're in the group, in a room with people who are just like you, who understand the agony of toxic shame. You can talk about it and not be judged and not be shamed. And that's how you heal the toxic shame that is keeping you bound. So 3 ways that toxic shame is first developed in the family system is 1, growing up with a shame-based parent, 2, being abandoned by a parent, and 3, being exposed repeatedly to shaming experiences. So the way that you heal your toxic shame is you got to come out of hiding and you have to talk about it. And a great environment to do that, John Bradshaw writes, is a 12-step program, because you're in a group, a non-shaming group with people, peers, who have felt the agony of the toxic shame that you feel. And that is how you heal the toxic shame that is keeping you bound. So as I started, I write in my book, Helping Teen Moms Graduate, Strategies for Families, Schools, and Community Organizations, that one of the 2 most pronounced feelings that surface when I think of my childhood is toxic shame. No one said anything. I just felt that I was not good enough. And the source was my birthright. I was born to an unwed teenage mother. And I didn't fully understand toxic shame until I read John Bradshaw's book, Healing the Shame That Binds You. And he explains how toxic shame is developed and how we heal our toxic shame. And I've been on my journey of healing for over 15 years, and I've made tremendous progress in healing the shame that kept me bound. And I know that the healing that has happened for me is possible for you if you will do the work to heal the shame that is keeping you in bondage. And so this is what today's Monday Mentoring Moment is all about. I hope this information was helpful to you. If it was, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and every Monday afternoon when I upload a video, you'll receive notification. If you're watching on Instagram and TikTok, just be on the lookout for reels that I will post later this week. So again, thanks for watching Monday Mentoring Moments for Young Women. I'm Dr. Chris Strobel, award-winning author, keynote speaker, founder, and a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. See you next week.